since you came to Entry Point, what's the biggest change that you've had?
So my knee works.
Yeah. So like if you started like from that point, like the biggest reason you came here was because of the knee, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah, I had a lot of like problems with my knee. So initially the injury was a meniscus tear.
Right.
I ended up having surgery for that, which turned out to be kind of a mistake. It didn't go as well for me as it probably does for other people. I had a lot of trouble recovering from that surgery.
Which you're not the only one.
I had another tear, after that surgery. So meniscus torn again, the tendons both below and above my knee, inflamed like tendonitis, fluid around my kneecap. Just had a ton of problems afterwards.
Right. And what was that thing that doctor told you that basically, did you just give up on life?
I mean, they wanted to do more surgery. When I, in the follow-ups after the surgery where I wasn't doing so well. So they wanted to do more surgery. Of course, like we talked about, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Of course.
They were doing the thing that they thought to do to try and help me. Like, they were trying to help me, but I was not going to do that again. So that's how I ended up here.
And they were like, "Oh, don't worry, you're in your late 30s, early 40s. Just don't ever run again."
Right. Yeah, and that's not an option for somebody who's an athlete. Like,
exactly.
I'm not going to accept that. So
then you ended up here.
I ended up here.
And now we're...
I walked in and couldn't do anything. Right. I limped in the door. I couldn't go up and down the stairs properly. I couldn't run to get out of the way of a car if it was going to hit me. Like, I couldn't do anything.
Well, I mean, because you came in and it was like, nope, can't even go that far. Like,
right, yeah. So it was a mess. Like I was just...
Well, what's funny is you're sitting there with that leg crossed over and you couldn't even get to that point before.
I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
So I was in bad shape in terms of this knee. And, so I think the biggest change is, I'd say, is it 100% right now? No, running is probably the one thing that I'm still kind of working on.
Right.
You know this.
Oh, yeah.
But there is so much improvement. I probably have, if you don't count running, I have 100% of my facility back in my knee.
Well, because you're past 90-degree squatting now. You're goblet squatting, you're kettlebell swinging. You're at least, even though running isn't perfect yet, you're interval jogging, and that's something they said you'd never do again. Right. They're like, oh, just don't, just never jog again. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So
you rode the bike for all those ridiculous miles, like a month or two back.
Yeah, right. My bike is 100% back. I rode, a couple of did a couple of over 20K rides.
I was gonna say
this
it had to
summer.
have been more than 20K. I remember that posting that we had that was ridiculously long.
Yeah. So.
And then, I guess, I know when you first came here, you were pretty sold already because of Sarah, but what were some of the apprehensions you had, coming into it, being that, Entry Point is what I am, being a little bit different,
Right. I've always been open to a different approach, and especially coming off of what I just described, which was a more traditional approach, and I had traditional PT in concert with that as well. And again, nothing against the people that I saw or people doing that. I think they genuinely believe that what they're doing is right, and they are genuinely trying to help you.
Oh, absolutely.
But it just didn't work for me.
Right.
So I was totally open to a different approach. And, honestly, the state that I was in, where I went from being kind of a hotshot athlete to gimping around, I was ready to try anything. And, except for the things that already hadn't worked, right? So it's time to try something different.
Exactly. And that was, it's been, what has it been? We've been together 4 or 5 months, maybe?
Yeah, since April.
Yeah.
And it's October now, so.
October. Yeah, so 6 months.
Yep.
Just shy of 6 months. And, in that time frame, it's not like we've burned a bunch of time. Seen you, this is our 13th time together. So 6 months, 13 visits. We went from no run, no jog, barely walk, no squat, no stairs.
Yeah.
Like pretty much. I mean, you were hurting a lot of the time too.
For sure.
And then just through that progression, here we are, 13 visits later, and now we're knocking on the door of full runs again. And
Yep.
all the full squatting.
Even though I say like running's not back 100%, I'm at this point dangerously close to actually running.
Right.
So,
Well, and the crazy thing, I remember that first day you came back, you're like, I went for a jog. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And so, like, if you could say, like, say somebody was sitting in front of you who either was dealing with knee pain or had a similar issue, and you could, like, break it down for them why it would be a good idea to be here. Like, if you could sum that up into one thing, like, how would you put that to them?
Yeah. So, I guess walking in the door, like, the only apprehension I guess I would have had potentially was like the out-of-pocket cost versus a more traditional route where your insurance might cover this or that, which when I did the traditional stuff, my insurance covered that. It didn't cost me very much out of pocket. This is more. However, what's more important? You have to ask that question, like, what's more important to me? The facility of the one and only body that I have, like fully working and being able to do the things that I want to do, or holding on to this dollar amount to potentially do like I don't know what with, but
it's all great to have money and spend, but if you can't get out to do it.
Exactly. So I mean, I think that is something that might give people pause, and may have given me pause if I had done it the other way and did this first, where I was like, oh, but my insurance could cover this, but this isn't that.
Right.
This actually works. So, I mean, I guess that's one thing I would say.
Worth the investment, though, from the standpoint of investing in your own health.
Totally worth the investment. What was the question again?
Basically, I was like, if someone was sitting in front of you and they're like, "Oh, should I go see this guy for my knee?"
Yeah, and I would say for sure. So I wouldn't worry about the cost thing because I couch it in terms of like what's more important.
Right, exactly.
The money
it's a priority.
or like the use of my body.
Right.
The one body I have. So there's that. And, if you're having an issue and you want to do something that actually has a great chance of really working, I would recommend this. And this is coming from somebody who's now been through it all in terms of what you could try to fix your knee. From having that initial torn meniscus to all of those problems that came from trying it the traditional way, to trying it the non-traditional way and having that actually work and help me. And like I said, I'm knocking on the door of like being back to where I was prior to getting hurt. I'm not quite there yet, but every time I come in, like,
it's just a little bit better.
Yep, I'm a little bit better, I'm a little bit better, I'm a little bit better. And it takes a lot of work. Like, you have to commit to doing that work. And you have asked me to do things that were like, this is like one of those scenes in the movie where the good guy gets hurt and then he has to go through physical therapy and he's like, yeah!
Video montage.
Like, exactly. And I'm like, man, this like doesn't feel good. But I'm going to do it because everything that I've done up till now with John has helped, and this is what he's asking me to do.
So I'm all in.
And I'm going to do it, even though it sucked. Like some of the things I had to do, 3/4 of the way through really sucked. But you know what? Those sucky things are easier now. Like I can do them now.
Yep.
The things that were like killing me in terms of discomfort in my knee, I can do them, and I'm to the point where I'm looking to make them like go to the next level and make them more difficult, to continue to gain strength and continue to get that facility back in my knee.
went from a struggle of how low can I make it to still make it doable for you to how I'm running out of ways to make it harder.
Right, yeah. And I mean, that's what you want, right?
Exactly.
And that's exactly how it has gone working with you.
Which has been, and it's been so cool to watch you go from, hobbling our way through this door behind me to now it's like, throw something new at me, give me a challenge here, and went from, in the space of, while 6 months seems like this big gap to like, especially when you're looking at it objectively, but granted, we did it in 13 visits over 6 months instead of, however, if you're going twice a week for 4 weeks, that's 8. Instead of 24 visits, we did it in just about half as many over that gaps period. And we went from, oh, hey, just never run again to knocking on the door of just being like, oh, yeah, I'm running full time again. Which is, I can't, and it's a testament, though, to also, like you said, the work that you put in, which is, I think I told you that first day, I was like, hey, this isn't going to be easy. We're going to have to work at it, but the reward is going to be there.
Right. Yep.
And there it was.
Yep, for sure. For sure. As long as you commit to, like, doing that work, you're going to improve.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind at this point. Like,
you heard it here first.
I think you could help anybody who came in here with a problem, because mine looked pretty dire to me when I walked in. So it's made a huge difference.